face on the left again. On the left, where the highlight is. Right. Yeah. I'm only a national grade 2, right? Grade 2 research fellows, and those we are all professor here, but the chairman sitting right in the middle of it, Professor Zhang Guangbo. These obviously they are grade 1 because grade 1 that means they are specializing in a whole range of Taoism, Taoist study, and grade 2 because I'm specializing underneath as grade 2 because I'm only specializing in the Taoist medicine, especially in the internal side. So we are grade 2. Okay, so there's a team, right? It's only been formed about a few years ago, about 3-4 years ago. Okay, the University of Beijing. Next picture, please. Okay, so also now being nominated as the vice chairman, of the internal Taoist medicine research team. Okay, next picture, please. Okay, now, so what I'll do is we're going to just quote a few, because at the end of the day, we have to justify where this thing comes from, where the knowledge comes from. It's very important, isn't it? The knowledge comes from you cannot, this is 2022 now, right? Even the Chinese, we land a robot on the moon. You cannot expect that you go over there and try to find a fairy tale there, okay? Because still you cannot stop it. A lot of people is still going into this spiritualism world, in the energy world, and you found the wrong teacher. Like I said, I don't want to argue with it. People like it, all these, Buddhism and being immortal, flying in like Harry Potter. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Freedom of belief, freedom of religion, and I respect that. But you come to the wrong teacher because, we like research, we concentrate energy work with human science. So nobody can find or found, I found this style, I found this side. I go to sleep and I wake up and suddenly, I know all the Tai Chi Chuan. I know you cannot say, oh yeah, in a dream I saw this Buddha flying around everywhere. And these are fairy tales, right? And it's not in our curriculum. Okay, so where did all this thing emerge? So that's my job for the last 28 years. Been doing it. And the Chinese, we have registration for over 4,000 years, written registrations. Okay, so I'm sharing a little bit. So this is because our co-civilization with the energy work, we're talking about heaven, earth, and human energy. Okay, so I just quote some because it's numerous. I just quote a few, so at least I can justify to you that, right? Our study, our research come from all the ancestral 4,000 years of registration about this energy work. Okay, yeah. So for example, now I'll just read in it is better to remain neutral. I mean, because these are so many different, shall we say, teaching. I just quote a little few of them, right? Feel like they're being here, but not being here, right? So what would you mean by all this? These are like emptiness. These are like emptiness. The Lao Tzu talking about 2,000-3,000 years ago, at the end of Zhou Dynasty, Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, people claim it, and he was talking about like nothing to something. So nothing to something, and in between is emptiness. So it looks like something is here, but nothing is here. But you'd feel it, but I don't see it. I don't hear it. I don't hear it, and I cannot touch it. So it's all these are energy, but come in different terms. So that's why I like, the people to remember that, okay? Yeah. And then he'll say, I just quote a few of forgiveness, right? Makes the best judgment, because at the end of the day, now we're talking about the yin and yang principle, right? So how we make judgment. So when you make a judgment, that means you have to balance a thing. And that's why we call it the balance. The balance, what is the balance? So we have the yin and yang principle. You have the yin, you have the yang, the laws of the two opposite, and you found the middle, and that's the balance. Okay. So you recognize the yang and you guard the yin. So the center is the best place. So because without the comparative study, you'll never find. If you people say, oh, this is it, okay, if I listen to it, right, and then you look at the opposite side, because you listen to just this side, let's just say if this is the yang, right, you listen to this side and you're biased because only one-sided. People say, oh, that's wrong. This is wrong. Who said it? Him? She? Who said it? Who is there to justify? So without even you compare this side. So as a research fellows, right, the ancient Chinese were telling us that, okay, things always appear first, but look at the opposite side, the negative side. Because if I say to you, this is right, right? Is it wrong? Is it wrong to look at the wrong? Right? If this is right, this is wrong. Is it wrong to look at the wrong? Yeah, so all this seems very confusing, but it's not. When you think a little bit more into it, no, it is correct to look at the wrong. Why? Because without looking at the wrong, how do you know this is right? Right? So if you go this side, you're biased. So if you turn around, you just listen to this side, you're also biased. Because there's one side that you only tilt. So the yin and yang is not balanced. So that means you have to listen to both sides of the story to help you be enlightening. The enlightened, that means in the middle. And the ancient Chinese called it the Tao. And the ancient Chinese called it the Tao. So these are all theories. These are all theories. So we have to look into that in that kind of xiaoxin, training of the mind. The mind is not just emotion. The mind is also, right, shall we say, is the knowledge you have to learn. Okay, thank you. Consider the positivism, but also learn from the negativism. That is the best order. Acknowledge the achievement, but do not lose the true dignity. That would be the best harvest. If the balance can be maintained, everything will fall into its place. When energies of heaven and earth connected, there will be rains, equilibriums. Equilibrium can be sustained only upon the interaction of the yin and yang forces. So all these are teachings, and it's teaching us, right, what is actually is the energy, heaven, earth, and human. Next one. Okay, now these are from my dissertations. Okay, from my 400,000 word dissertation 17 years ago. So Tao of heaven and earth, Tin Di Dao. A person who could say that the Tao had no original beginning, but it did not mean that Tao itself had no original beginning. The Tao could be recognized because it was able to connect the beginning and the end. The connection could be made because they were beginning and end. They were allocated upon where the beginning was placed on top, while the end was positioned below. Now, that's why these ancient classics is really confusing. You really have to think about it before you understand what they're trying to tell us. Okay. Yeah. Also, Lao Tzu were talking about the Tao and the energy, right? Yeah. So when the superior man learned of the Tao, the truth, or the knowledge, that they would study and practice hard, right? And then also they preaching. That means they study and they practice and learning, right? And today, too many people, they don't practice what they preach. They say something, but they do something else, or they say something and they don't know how to do it, anything. So these are the problem you have to be aware. Okay, and when the intellectual heard of the Tao, they would be skeptical. When common people were told about the Tao, they would laugh their heads off. Unfortunately, this is the reality of how people would elaborate the learning, the teaching of the Tao. It is laughable. This is what happened today, because it's so confusing when you don't turn about energy, and because you cannot see it as a metaphor. It's a metaphor, and everybody go into spirit. So this is why we have to find a problem first. If we cannot find a problem, how are we going to find the answer? So even when you have the answer, that means we can start learning. So even when you're learning, well, you still have to. So even when you're learning, well, you still have to practice this, because you cannot just learn and you cannot practice, because it's medicine. So even when you practice it, you have to hands-on. You have to put it over patience. You try to help people. That's why it's not so simple. Just cross your leg, drip into subconsciousness of the universe. So that's your Tao. You choose. Okay, but like I said, in a university level, this is how, you know, I try to structure the whole things. Okay, so it's up to you. You really have to find your Tao. If you want to learn it through the human science, you're welcome. Okay, this is also from Lao Tzu, from Tao Te Ching. Yeah, the reason that I'm constantly being sick is because I'm a human. If I do not possess this physical body, how would I incur illnesses? Now, these are very, very good teaching. I extract from, you know, from my dissertation. Now, because we're humans, and when humans usually we have psychological problem, and psychological problem also give birth to physiological problem. Vice versa, we could have physiological illnesses and cause psychological problem. So that's the yin and yang. So that's why problem. So that's the yin and yang. So that's why when we talk about the Taoist internal medicine, we have to attend both sides. Because if you just look at the psychological side, right? Yeah. And in the theory, the medical theory is we call it biu. Yeah, that means it's a superficial and it's the inside, which is superficial, and inside is the organ. So that means if you don't see to one side, the other side will have relapse. So that means if there was physiological problem, right? And then it might cause by the psychological problem. So if you look after physiological problem, if you don't look after the psychological, which is inside, it'll relapse. Vice versa. Psychological problem may be caused by physiological problem. So from the internal Taoist medicine, we are looking at both sides. Then you can help the patients, right, to self-heal the illnesses as well. So also the next one is those who knows and yet do not think they know belong to the highest rank of men. Those who do not know and yet they think they know are really at fault. When one knows that he is at fault, he can be free of fault, right? Saga is free of fault because he knows when he is at fault. Okay, so these are teaching that the mind. So in ancient China, when we talk about the mind, the training of the mind, you call it, is actually is some kind of, shall we say, relationships, emotional contents between human and human. Okay, and for a few thousand years, we collect all this, or our teacher collect all the 8, right, morality, we call it. Okay, and then because when we study it, then we be able to live among each other in peace. That is what, in the Chinese sense of training of the mind, because we're all different, right? Even in personality. Now, we talk about international different culture, we're all different in different cultures. So therefore, we have to learn to coexist, right? We have to accept other people's culture, and other people have to accept your culture. Then we have the balance. Again, the yin and yang principle. But today, how many people know that? No, because it's always, right, me. The rest of you guys are wrong. And that's why we have all the chaos, okay? Another pages, please. Okay, now this is talking about human to human now. So the heaven, earth, and human. So these are all energy as well, the emotional energy. And Confucian also said that, do not be concerned about others not appreciating you. Be concerned about you not appreciating others. Right now, this kind of teaching, I really like this kind of teaching, because at the end of the day, you can think about it, right? Yeah, because we have to live in harmony. Yeah, this is how we're talking at training of the mind. And then later, second part, we talk about training of the body. Okay. Now the Confucian also say that to acknowledge what is known as known and what is not known as not known. Now is knowledge. Wow, isn't it brilliant? You know, but the thing is, if you don't really digest it, you really don't understand. And what it actually means is, right? If you really know something, yes, you know it. But if you don't know something, that you really don't know it. admitted it, right? Because when you admitted it, that means it's knowledge. That means you do understand that, right? You know a thing, you're good. You don't know a thing, right? You know good. Simple as that. But the thing is, today the problem is, right? Yeah, too many Mr. and Mrs. Know-it-all. People are not even qualified, and they stood up in front. Oh, my master. So that is the problem. You don't know, just say you don't know. Why make things up? That's what a lot of people keep mixing it up. Chop suey, chop suey, chop suey, and especially energy work, right? I mean, like I said, I'm not qualified to talk about other people's energy work, but do we have to drag other people's knowledge into the Chinese side? We got 5,000 years, 4,000 years of this. So I cannot drag in the ancient, like the Indian. The Indian have their knowledge, they're very old culture, but I don't speak the language. I'm going to drag their knowledge into our one. Now, like the chakra, the seven chakra. I like the chakra, the seven chakra, right? Their energy inside the body. We all know that. Yeah, we all know that. That's a lot of students ask me, hey, professor, how am I going to drag the chakra into the QiGong side? Then I'll say to you, I don't know. Because like I say, I don't know. What is not known to me? I don't know, not known. How can I say to you? Why? They say, why? You're a professor. Yeah, I'm a professor. But if I don't know, because I don't know the language, I don't know the culture. How should I, if I say I know that, I'll be lying to you, am I? So even the chakra, or is it energy inside you? So are we talking about organs? Are we talking about organs? Vitality, life force. So all these are different terms, that's all. But if you talk about the energy force inside the body, then Chinese have a organs qi, zhongjiang he. But then we got 12 organs plus the spine and the spinal cord and the brain. So we got 14 major organs. These are vitality, these are life force, these are the energy of the organs. So, but the Indian, I don't know. Like I said, you have to find an Indian teacher and they explain to you how come they got 7 and what did they represent. So it's completely nothing to do with us. We talk about 14. If you say the Indians, they have 7 organs out there, or 7 organs missing. There's 7 organs missing. So how can I answer your question? Right. So whenever you're talking about people dragging a bit here, dragging a bit there, dragging a bit there, chop suey, chop suey, chop suey. Something wrong there, isn't it? That means this kind of teacher, they don't even know the in-depth of that culture. Like I said, the Indian culture is very old, very ancient. Do they need you to drag a bit of Chinese into their culture? Fair enough. So that means you tell you the guy knows a little bit. It's not enough. So they pull everything together, chop suey, and sell it to you. So if you like that kind of training, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it, but not in the, the university level, because we have to testify that, right? And especially it's medicine.